Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to make the worm and wheel now. So the worm and wheel is this piece right here. This is the wheel, and this is the worm. Alright, you're going to need this bracket, and you can see I've already got the bushings put on mine. You should already know how to put bushings on, so I'm not going to go over that part. It's got 2 sides on it. And you need this bracket that's got 3 sides on it. Notice the empty space over here. And I've already put the bushings on that one. Now you're going to need the bushings for this piece on the top row. And leave the middle hole open. Okay, on this piece, see the bushing is in the middle row. You can kind of see the back side here. It's in the middle row of holes. And there's no hole back here. So that one's going to stay empty. That's just the way it's going to have to be for the worm and wheel. It's the best way to get everything lined up just right. So the axle is going to go through here. You got the screw in one, and that one's just going to have to stay empty for now. Okay. So I'm going to put this bracket on my build plate. I usually use blue screws for that, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Tighten it down with the hex driver. So I just picked a spot, doesn't really matter where. Now this piece has to go right next to it, like this. Okay, don't leave a row of empty holes. It's got to go right there, right next to it. But in order to get the wheel and the worm to touch, you have to raise this up just a hair. And this part is kind of a pain, but this is the best way I've found to be able to do it. You're going to use these tiny spacers. And they have to go between the bracket and the build plate. So here's the way I did it. I'm going to take my bracket and put 4 green screws inside of it. 1 in each corner. Okay, 4 green screws in there. Now I'm going to set that to the side for a minute. So you just set it over to the side. Now I'm going to take 4 of these tiny little spacers and I'm going to set them on my build plate. And this is the best way to do it. So here's what it looks like. Okay, now I'm going to take the bracket with the screws and carefully place those screws through the spacers. So now you can see there's a row of spacers in there. Okay, now I got to put the nuts on the bottom. So I'm going to hold this in position while I attach the nuts to the bottom. And the best way to do this is you just put a finger on top of the screw to hold it still and then screw the nut on. But you won't be able to get it fully tight. So you just start it like this and then go back with your hex driver and tighten it. Okay, so now you can see no empty holes in there. They're right next to each other. And you can see we've got the nuts on the bottom. Now I'm going to tighten that bracket down. This one. Okay. Check it. Nothing's moving, it's all nice and tight. Now I'm going to take an axle and put it through this bracket. And that is where the worm gear is going to go. I'm sorry, the wheel gear is going to go. Put the wheel on there. And want a collar right here at the front. I have to set that down. I can't hold everything at the same time. All right, so there is the wheel. Now I need to put the worm in there. So, this part's kind of tricky too. Okay, I'm going to put the axle through here. Then I'm going to put a collar on the axle. Oh, screw is tightened. Okay, so put a it's hard to do while it's up in the air. Okay, I'm going to put a collar on that axle. So I'm going to have to pick the camera up instead of holding that up. See the collar there? All right. Then the worm. Then another collar. And it's going to be tricky to get everything in there. But it is possible because I'm doing it. Okay. So now you can see how it is. Try holding it up this way. Maybe it'll be a little bit more light. Right there, you can kind of see collar on each side of the worm. Now I need to tighten my collars so they stay in position. And you want those collars right next to the worm gear. Well, my collar doesn't want to tighten. Try a different hex driver here. Alright, so it looks like I've got a stripped collar in here. That one did not want to tighten. We have to try a different one. That one's missing a screw. Alright, try this again here. Alright, now I've got it.
Chloe Grindstaff, please come to the office.
Now I've got to tighten my other collar as well. I had to loosen it to take that piece out. Okay, now I'm going to take a collar and put it on each end of my axle.
Noah King to the office, please. Noah King to the office.
Okay, so you can see here, it's a collar on each side of the worm and a collar on each end. Okay, now the way this mechanism works is you spin the worm and it makes the wheel spin. You cannot spin the wheel. Look, when I try to spin the wheel, nothing happens. But when I turn the worm, forgot something. So in order to keep that from happening, forgot a piece. I need a collar back here. Collar right there. Now, get this position so you can see. When I turn the worm, the wheel does spin. It's very, very slow because the worm and wheel is a high torque, low speed mechanism. But if you look carefully, you can see the wheel turn. That's it.